What is the most intimate, non-sex thing you do with your partner? Taking care of me when I was sick. We've been together for about a year and don't live together. I had to cancel plans because I had a stomach bug, diarrhea and throwing up, and he came over and took care of me. Any man that can witness his girl sitting on the toilet and head in a trash can and still want to cuddle you and love on you is a keeper. Sometimes people say they would die for each other, but what people really need is someone who would help you off the toilet and cuddle you afterwards. My partner died 10 months ago. Reading this warms my heart. We shared many of the same things you're all describing: cuddling, being sick together, being in hospital, being able to say/do the weirdest things without repercussions, sharing our tears, grooming each other. I think one of my favorite things was that we had a whole little language no one else understood. Little mannerisms and abbreviations and gestures that were only funny or meaningful to us. We could also just tell what the other was thinking after 13 years of knowing each other. I could tell he was thirsty just by the way he looked around the room. We walked into a busy cafe once, and he immediately knew I wanted to leave, so we could find somewhere quieter. My partner was also an Afghanistan veteran. I feel privileged to have loved and supported him through that experience. It was a big part of his life. I cherish all that. These intimate things are the things your special relationships are made of. When he wraps himself around me tightly while cuddling/spooning and calls it maximum security. If I'm feeling sad, he'll tease me and be like, "Or does someone need maximum security?" It's very sweet. Getting dressed for the day or undressed for bed together. Having deep meaningful conversations on the couch. He scrubs my back before I get in the shower. I shave his lower back for him after a health issue necessitated it. Literally sleeping together. That's not something I've done with another person for a very long time. Cuddling and eventually falling asleep in someone's arms is very intimate and requires quite a bit of vulnerability. This exactly. I used to get offended that my fiance would be talking to me/cuddling and just randomly fall asleep on me, until I realized that he is just so completely relaxed in my arms at the end of a long day that he can finally fall asleep peacefully, and that makes me feel so close to him now. I think the most intimate thing happened during my second son's birth a few months ago. I had given birth quickly and easily, but then began hemorrhaging. They stood me up to go to the bathroom and blood began pooling down my legs and feet. Immediately back in bed, giving me shots and meds to try to stop it, but it won't. The nurses were scared and a team ran in. My husband laid the baby down and held my hand. I was terrified I was dying and leaving them. I just kept looking into his eyes and telling him I was so scared. And he stayed calm and smiled and reassured me. I'm so lucky they found a piece of retained placenta and were able to give me a second epidural and manually remove it. But I ended up losing almost 800 milliliters of blood. I really thought those could be my last moments. And I just locked eyes with him, trying to communicate everything I needed him to know about our family and my sons, but too scared to say any of it out loud. It was the most intimate moment of my life. My boyfriend swims nearly every day and the chlorine dries the crap out of his skin. So I spend a few minutes every day lotioning his back and butt so they don't get ashy. This is mostly non-sexual, but sometimes I pretend I'm a dude and the lotion is my nut. With crazy humping and dirty talk. He doesn't like it when the turntables. He plays love songs on the piano while I stand behind him kissing the back of his head. I almost cry sometimes. He's autistic and doesn't do verbal affection, but he finds ways to show me that he loves me. My boyfriend draws, and sometimes he draws me naked. Granted, it's a prelude to sex sometimes, but not all the time. It's super intimate. Watching him quietly concentrate and do his work while sort of examining parts of me. I used to be super self-conscious, so just laying there and being out in the open is sort of freeing, and IDK just feels close. I don't know if this counts, but I got my husband through his fight with Hodgkin's lymphoma and his relapse a year later. It was just him and me. We have a small support system and none of them live locally. The relapse meant a bone marrow transplant. Shit. It's no joke. Literally brings you to the brink of death and back. My husband is a 6 foot strong Scottish man and when we were in the thick of it, I had to push him in a wheelchair at the hospital, cause getting from the car to the door was all he could do. He looked nothing like himself either. Hairless, pale. I was bathing, dressing, feeding him, managing his many medications, and the side effects violent vomiting, and getting him to and from the hospital on a daily basis. I have a very clear memory of helping him get into new PJs one morning and thinking I knew I might have to care for him like this. But I also thought it would be in my 70s, not at the ripe old age of 34. Being a caregiver for your loved one in and of itself is a crazy intimate experience. You see someone at their absolute worst/weakest and somehow you find new strength in yourself at the same time. That ordeal changed us. Obviously, we definitely have had a new level of intimacy since. It's bonded us in a way that I can't put into words. Edit. Wow. I'm truly humbled, folks. I wasn't even sure if this thought belonged here, and your comments have brought me to tears. Thank you so much. I replied where I could. I definitely felt all the love. My husband has been cancer free for 4 years this past September. It took a long time for him to shake the side effects from all the chemo, but as of earlier this year we really feel like we've moved forward and left that battle behind us. For all of you fighting the good fight or supporting someone who is, we got our happy ending, and I wish that so hard for all of you. Stay strong and gold. Well shit. My first and second and third ever. Thank you, kind people. I'm moved. My husband likes to straight up lay on me with his head on my chest and fall asleep like that on the couch, like a toddler would. It's so sweet, I absolutely love it. I climb into my girlfriend's lap like a toddler unexpectedly and just bury my face in her neck pretty often. Probably one of the safest feeling places in the world for me. Plus she always smells good. There's always a few moments before we fall asleep where we'll just lay together, making eye contact. That may sound strange, but it always feels super intimate, and in a way that nothing needs to be said out loud. You're just sharing this moment, and know that there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Of everything listed here, I think staring at each other is when I feel the deepest connection. I remember a time when someone would do that, and I would look away or question their intentions. But with her, I feel this warmth and exchange. No words, just a visual intake. We haven't hit the hour mark, but we will sometimes just stare wondering and appreciating. My boyfriend is a big guy with a lot of confidence, so it's very adorable when he snuggles up to me like has teeny tiny. I'm also the big spoon 100% of the time. He can never know I posted this lol. Edit. I told him, because of all the unexpected upvotes, I thought this would be buried. My husband is our little spoon. When we were mattress shopping and cuddling on the mattress to see if it was comfy on our sides like that, he says, should I be embarrassed that I'm the little spoon? In public I'm feeling slightly emasculated. Apostrophe. He likes to call me different nicknames, one of them being Peach. So, whenever he wants to cuddle, he says Peach time. And we cuddle and just lay there together. It's honestly one of my favorite things in the world. Talk. Just literally open my mouth and let the most random, uncensored stream of consciousness pooper out. Oftentimes working through things or saying things out loud to process them. And I never, rarely, feel like I'm being judged. I don't recall a time in my life that felt so comfortable and safe and loved in a relationship. That level of trust translates to so many other aspects of a relationship, and it is both scary and exhilarating. We cuddle together naked. I'll admit it sometimes leads to sex, but most times it's just something cute and intimate we enjoy after a long day. Feeling your partner's skin on your skin is so incredibly wonderful, not to mention it does leave you vulnerable. One time, a while ago, I had a very bad panic attack and he carried me into his car, drove me to his place, brought me upstairs, and cuddled and slept with his entire body encompassing me, just repeating "you're safe here." When I would wake up in a dead panic throughout the night, he would pull me closer and just pet my head to calm me down and say "I'm here." Edit. A close second is this time that we both got into hysterical laughter just being happy with each other for no ducking reason. We couldn't stop and were just lying next to each other laughing so much our eyes were watering and just smiling so much it hurt. Reading this makes my heart burst. My husband does this when I wake up with panic attacks, which isn't very often. He'll stay up all night with me if I can't fall back asleep. For some reason baths help to calm me down, so he'll sit next to the tub while I take my 3 AM bath. He told me the day he knew he loved me was when he first saw me have a panic attack and he just wanted to make me feel better. When we are in bed together, she sometimes steals a kiss on my cheek and I go, "Oh, cooties." I wait a few seconds and whisper, "Psst, pretty girl, I like you." She giggles and says, "I like you too. You wanna go steady?" Apostrophe. Yeah. Then we hold hands till we fall asleep. I'm 40 meters, she's 38F. We have 2 kids. Edit. Thanks for the silver. He goes to bed much later than I do, but he puts me to bed every night. I lay my head on his chest and play with his beard while he rubs my head. Then I will usually tell him I need some skin, and I will untuck his shirt and put my hand up inside under his shirt and rub his chest / play with his chest hair as he rubs my head until I fall asleep. It is my favorite time of the day, by far. I have really severe chronic depression that intensifies during the winter months. Sometimes I have days where I'll spiral into this black hole of fear and hopelessness, and my lover will just hold me as tight as he can and tell me how much he loves me and how it'll be okay. It helps more than I can express, and it's so comforting to know that has seen me in such a vulnerable state and still continues to love me the same. To me, it's more intimate than any sexual act could be. I recently started helping my so trim his beard. It felt really intimate. I'm African. He's Middle Eastern. It took me a while, but I eventually let him help with taking out my cornrows when I change hairstyles and helping me wash / condition my hair. That's pretty intimate to me as an African woman. I love this. I remember the first time I wore my satin sleep cap in front of my partner. The only people that ever see me wrap my hair and put my cap is my family, so it felt really intimate doing it in front of him. He's white / Hispanic, so I was worried about the cultural differences, but he enjoys that stuff. He'll help me figure out hairstyles and always compliments me when I try something new. He does complain about how my hair gets everywhere lol. Close bracket. We are pretty much monkeys. We are obsessed with grooming each other. He plucks my eyebrows, loves to wash my hair, and do face masks with me, and I pluck all his weird hairs everywhere, pop pimples and cut his hair. I can tell you what it used to be before our divorce. Whatever we did that day, be it adventuring or swimming, or just hanging out, our evenings always ended on our big red couch. I would be on the far right side, against the arm, because I liked getting into the corner. She liked having room to stretch out, so she got the middle and left side. I'd throw our rolled fleece over the both of us and put something on the TV. Sometimes we'd watch, sometimes we would chat and sorta watch, but it always ended with her breathing slowing down while falling asleep with her head on my left shoulder. It was a comforting thing for her in terms of physical position and closeness. Feeling safe. It was a comforting thing for me to know I had someone who wanted to be close to me and was still comfortable. The first time I sat down on that red couch after she moved out in my usual spot was out of reflex. A handful of seconds went by. I realized I could never sit there again and feel good about myself or my life. The coldness of the leather, the emptiness of the space was too much. I got up and rearranged the furniture on the spot. Once I stopped sobbing like an infant. Not sure if y'all can tell, but I miss her. Anyway, that's what it was. Going to the ER with my partner. I was so scared and vulnerable, and he stood by me and held my hand the whole time. My boyfriend hates the hospital because his dad nearly died there. He took me to the ER once for breathing problems. While I was getting a breathing treatment, they were getting my information from him. Well, he forgot my birthday. Everyone gave him hell for that. We wrestle and play fight. I know I sweared, but it's so fun. Plus he was an NCAA wrestler and has his purple belt in BJJ, so he can twist me in any knot he wants, and it's oddly satisfying to be under his complete control, but it's actually not sexual. Sometimes we start giggling at a silly joke and end up just laughing together uncontrollably in bed before we go to sleep. It's my favorite. Although I'm good at sleeping long nights, I have trouble actually falling asleep. We'll cuddle, and with his big voice he'll invent a story so that I can doze off to his soft bass like golden sound. Once, he summarized Star Wars episodes 1 to 3 since I hadn't seen them and expressed how much they sucked compared to the rest. It was amazing. Edit. Internet is sensitive today. Edit #2 episodes 1 to 3 as in Phantom Menace, etc. I like Star Wars okay, just not the first 3 story episodes. Edit #3 rip my inbox with fans and haters. Washing each other. We'll do full service, butt crack, etc. Literally whole body. Rarely turns sexual for us. A lot of times we do it after 6 when we are done cuddling. Another is probably medical care for each other. I have a bad back, so he'll help me move in bed if it's a rough day, or put on my shoes and stuff. Helps me keep my calluses in check on my feet lol. I try to help him with acne, much to his distaste, and other grooming or medical needs I can meet of his. Cooking for him feels intimate to me. I'm self-conscious about my cooking because my ex-husband made fun of me. I like gourmet cooking. He likes meatloaf and mashed. Close bracket. I'm trusting him completely when he eats the food that I make. And thankfully, he loves it. What came to mind first was actually non-physical intimacy. I trust him with all my passwords and bank info, and honestly, at some point or another, we've told each other our SSN/sins. For paperwork or something. He's the same at me. We just are a cohesive unit of I trust you, you trust me. Can you check my email for me to see if my mom emailed me back at all times? It's intimate for me to have that trust be mutual. Good thing I married him. When we wake up after sharing a bed together, we take a few moments to just be and enjoy each other. We'll snuggle in closer, nuzzle into each other's necks, and give each other so many kisses. And sometimes we'll just lay there and tell each other about the dreams we had while staring into each other's eyes. When one of us has CL butterwork, we set an alarm that's half an hour earlier than necessary just to start the day off like this. Before I had back surgery a few years ago, the pain was intense. I couldn't get out of bed. My husband had to carry me to the bathtub and wash me and my hair. I felt so fragile. That was probably the most intimate non-sexual thing I've experienced. Me asking for some of his time if I need him. He's an introvert and I'm an extrovert, and I always feel selfish asking for his time, even though I don't find it selfish at all when he needs me time. Him, from what has told me, being the one person who doesn't drain his energy. I can be overbearing and hyperactive, so it means the world that he never doesn't want me around. We clean each other's ears. Lol. Sometimes my wife will ask for a foot rub, which I think is very intimate, but can be sensual. Sometimes she asks me to clean her ears, and having her head on my lap as I take care of her in the silliest and superfluous of ways makes me feel connected more than other ways of physical touch. I don't think she knows how much I enjoy it. Edit. Added details. We are quite physical with each other, so there's a whole list of cute little things we do physically, but I'd say that eating is one of the more intimate things for us. We both have struggled with bad relationships with food, general eating disorders and body image issues. We both love food as well, so being able to eat whatever kind of food we want with each other and however much is a big deal. I think with other people, eating feels scary, but we don't worry about the other judging us. I'm not a woman, but I like this question. Showering. It turns sexual like 40% of the time, but it always involves goofing off and talking. Switching sides for hot water is always cumbersome and it's just two goofballs. Sometimes I play foot or hand and put either on her butt and have her guess. I love this. We turn the lights off and shower and it's so funny not being able to see. It rarely is sexual for us either. My husband always likes to sneak a GL butt of cold water in and pour it on me. I usually can tell when he has one, so I just dump it on him. I pick him up on my way home from work and we have those 20 minutes of how was your day? How was yours? Just sharing and keeping each other up to date. And we can talk about pooping. I had a stroke in March and have lost the majority of use of my left side. It's mostly just there for symmetry these days. I also have fibromyalgia, which is pretty debilitating. I now need help bathing and he bathes me. I've always been very independent and admitting I need that help was hard. The first time he bathed me, he was so gentle, thoughtful, and loving that it was so beautiful I cried. My husband is just amazing. I couldn't decide on the most intimate. Shower together, stroke each other's faces and back, talk deeply about anything, write letters to each other. I love reading his words. We went out for a meal together and were sat opposite each other in cozy armchairs. I love just sitting and looking in each other's eyes. Very intimate. Having a baby. Before I was admitted I was in the bathroom and I was in so much pain and so scared. And I called his name. And he came in. The only word I could get out was help. I meant that I was terrified and I couldn't do it. He was calm and supportive through the end. But the moments before the delivery room, while I was trying to use the bathroom, were the closest and most vulnerable I think I've been. My favorite thing my boyfriend and I do is, I think this is what made me fall for him really. I would sit crisscross applesauce. I don't know how to describe that sitting position other than that. And he would put this head in my lap and I would play with his hair and beard. It relaxes him and it makes my heart so happy looking down at him. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.